Starting with the violent riots unfolding in LA, where masked protesters have been taking to the streets, setting cars on fire, some waving the Mexican flag, some waving the Palestinian flag, spraying graffiti that reads F America, thugs are looting stores and damaging property and setting fire to the American flag as they demonstrate against illegal immigrants being deported. But according to California Governor Gavin Newsome, these protesters are peaceful and LA authorities have it under control.
But the peaceful protesters, we want to keep them safe. We want them to exercise their fundamental rights. We want to keep those that are enforcing the laws in a respectful and responsible way also safe. But Donald Trump needs to pull back.
Gavin Newsome says that LA has enough police officers. The reality is LA has fewer police per capita than other big cities, almost half as many as Chicago, and it didn't take long for protesters to overrun police, block highways and light police cars on fire. LA police have so far made 50 arrests, including charges for attempted murder with Molotov cocktails. 5 officers and LAPD horses have sustained rather injuries. And the LA Police Chief, Jim McDonnell, has admitted that his police force has been completely overwhelmed.
We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity and the type of things that they're doing. They'll take backpacks, and the backpack will have a cinder block in it. They have a hammer, and they'll break up the cinder block and use that, pass it around to throw at officers, to throw at cars, and throw at other people.
Now, it's no secret that California Governor Gavin Newsome is the worst governor in California's history. His policies have increased violent crime so much it's now 35% higher than the national average. His handling of the deadly wildfire crisis back in January that left more than 10,000 homes destroyed and cost $250 billion was disgusting. His failure to mobilise firefighters before the fire began is what led to this catastrophe. And when the cameras were on him, we saw him weasel and gaslight, claiming that all the reservoirs were filled when we know that's not true. A major reservoir was sitting empty. And once again, we're seeing him do the exact same thing, just gaslight, deflect and blame Donald Trump for the chaos in his state, because Donald Trump sent the National Guard to restore law and order because LA police could not handle this level of violence. And Gavin Newsome is now suing Trump over this, which we'll get into later in the show. But it's not just Gavin Newsome who seems to be on another planet. LA Mayor Karen Bass is possibly worse than he is. Looking at her latest budget proposal, she wants to see hundreds of police officers laid off, around 400 of them. And we know her history, making sure there's plenty of money allocated to spend on DEI projects in LA. But once again, we're seeing how incompetent she is in times of crisis. According to Karen Bass, the National Guard should not have been deployed because police have this under control.
This is intentional chaos. You know, I had talked to representatives of the Trump administration earlier on to tell them that the Los Angeles Police Department could control things that were happening here and that there was no need to federalize troops. And so to have this here is really just a provocation and something that was not needed in our city.
The calls for Gavin Newsome and Karen Bass to resign are back. There are right now more than 200,000 signatures on a petition calling for Mayor Bass to resign. Now, this one was set up earlier in the year because she ignored the fire warnings and advice from authorities and flew to Ghana when LA was on fire, and then, of course, refused to answer questions. But Trump was asked about Gavin Newsome today, and he did not hold back.
A crime has he committed? I think his primary crime is running for governor because he's done such a bad job. What he's done to that state is like what Biden did to this country. And that's pretty bad. It's the wrong philosophy. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants, many of them prisoners. They're taking up your health care. They're taking up your space in schools. They're taking up your hospital. And in many cases, they're criminals.
It's estimated there are around 10 million illegals in the United States, and we know that Donald Trump promised that he was going to deport them. But what is it with the Democrats straight up lying about how violent these riots have become, essentially siding with the thugs who are destroying LA? Failed presidential candidate Kamala Harris weighed in on all of this, saying how appalled she was that Trump sent the National Guard and that the protests were overwhelmingly peaceful. And here's Democrat Maxine Waters telling the cameras that there's no danger and no violence.
We don't know why they're calling in the National Guard. There's no danger. There's no violence. The President of the United States hates Los Angeles because we're a sanctuary city. He doesn't like us, and we're targeted. And so I believe that he really wants to have martial law to show that he's in charge. He's the President of the United States, and all of the city of LA is targeted.
And Democrat Cory Booker, what has he had to say about all this?
The reality is we see peaceful protests launching in Los Angeles. And again, any violence against police officers should not be accepted. Local authorities can handle that. But remember, a lot of these peaceful protests are being generated because the President of the United States is sowing chaos and confusion by arresting people who are showing up for their immigration hearings.
Democrats once again lying, gaslighting, blaming Donald Trump, and it seems they'd rather see LA burn than law and order be restored.